I hope he can learn his lesson in Malema, that he's no longer just a street guy. He has become a threat to the system. And as such, they will treat him like that also. So stay away from making stupid errors like that. It's not necessary. Avoid unnecessary confrontations. He has a bigger battle to fight. And you get derailed as a leader of his stature. He now is trying to solve very immaterial, trivial problems, and they'll keep you busy in court instead of fighting the real battles that he must be fighting.
What do you think about Operation Dudula and them saying that African immigrants in South Africa are the reason why there's unemployment, the reason why the economy is bad, the reason why there's crime?
Guess what we're fighting for? Jobs.
Yeah.
We're not fighting for ownership of industry. I want you to understand the level of the battle, that it is so low. Instead of us fighting that the companies that are registered on JSE must give us guarantee that all the raw materials that we are digging in South Africa is not going through the export border, so that we push them towards the establishment of industries. Once we do that, we may even discover that South Africans, there are not enough people to employ because the industries have spread. But the bigger companies are still exporting chrome, platinum, uranium, iron ore, manganese, copper, cobalt, and everything is still going. And we're fighting over jobs of spaza shops, selling chickens, selling bones on the street.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I am your brother Orina, all the way from the motherland, all the way from Kenya, Nairobi, nation's capital. Welcome to SELL Afrika to Africans, the home of Pan-Africanism. Well, today we have, special is an understatement. He's a friend of the show. He has been here twice virtually, but today we meet in flesh, live in living color. A living legend, a living icon. Please welcome the one and only Maponga Marara Changambire. My elder. Elder, how are you?
Greetings to you and all your listeners out there.
That's the beauty of the internet. We can be thousands of miles away, but we meet today at the. It's amazing. How are you?
It was bound to happen.
It was bound to happen.
So destiny sometimes maps its way into the future.
It's beautiful.
And waits for you there.
It's beautiful.
So we have arrived. It's where we must be.
Karibu Kenya. How is Kenya so far? I know you've been here multiple times.
When I arrived, it rained yesterday, so that's all I need.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings. You know, I'm starstruck. I told you, Maponga, you are one of the people who inspired me to be a Pan-Africanist.
Wow.
I'm 25 years old. I'm a Gen Z, and at 18 years old, my history teacher was the one who inspired me. But you, PLO, you are my teachers. Even Queen Mother Arikana, you are my teachers virtually before I met you physically.
Wonderful.
How do you feel all these years you've been teaching people, whether you've met them physically or you've met them virtually, but you're teaching people, billions of people worldwide. How do you feel touching people like that?
When I branched off into the Pan-African movement, or the Pan-African nationalism, whatever definition you want to use, it was a sacrifice because I was moving away from a standard pastoral business environment where things are consistent, you are predictable, and human beings are human beings of habit. But when I jumped off, it was a great risk.
Yeah.
Where for some few years, literally, you're working from hand to mouth, and you don't see what you're doing. And many people around you think you're crazy. You're throwing away a 33-year career for an idea about Africans with no visible or tangible benefits. And I meet people like you years later. And then I discover that maybe my life is worth something. Because at least someone has been able to plug in. And when I listen to Boko, President of Botswana, talking some of the stuff that I put out there almost 10, 15, 20 years ago, when I look at Ibrahim Traore beginning to implement the resuscitation, resetting African to factory setting, some of the stuff that I spoke about years ago, when I see Mnangagwa beginning to set up Zimbabwe National Trust for mineral distribution, when I hear Namibia and Botswana have now removed their borders, and I hear the Sahel state are now. I mean, it's almost like a deja vu. So you spoke about these things, but I did not even think that I would see this in my lifetime. But to be able even now to come to Kenya, I first came to Kenya here in the late 90s, and I needed a visa. I needed a what to get in here, and I came in yesterday, and all they did was pick my passport. Didn't even ask me, what are you coming here to do and for how long I'm going to be here? He just grabbed my passport, put a stamp, and I walked in. And to me, it's quite encouraging. And by the time when I see young people of your nature now beginning to pick up the batons, it's very encouraging.
Oh, and we'll talk about the presidency, we'll talk about politics, but where are my manners? I should ask my elder, how is he doing? I saw you in the hospital bed on Instagram, and I even texted you to see you're okay, and you told me you're okay. What happened? What happened?
It was an accident, but accidents can be avoided. There are more trucks on the roads. The roads are thinner. When the time these roads were done by the British colonialists, people are still driving Anglias and Ford Cortinas, which are small little cars. Now you're dealing with 4x4s. You're dealing with all our traffic. Now in Zimbabwe, for example, because of the collapse of the railway system, almost 80 to 90% of all our goods are on the road. So we have lots of trucks, and because the business is beginning to resuscitate in the country, lots of industry, agriculture, and mining. Now the problem is somewhere else. While business is beginning to shape up, but driving is now becoming a big risk. And it's not only Zimbabwe. I think in most of the Eastern African countries, we are so happy to hear that the railway line between Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Zambia is being resuscitated. But we have a new problem again. Because while the government is now moving towards the railway lines, the business people, our own brothers and multinationals who had invested lots of money into trucks are now a problem. Because when this business moves to the railway line, they're going to be losing business. So you find that our parliamentarians, the very parliamentarians who are supposed to be fast-tracking the re-establishment of the railway line, they're the ones busy dragging their feet because it is now to do with their stomachs again. So yes, the accident happened. It was a head-on collision with another gentleman. There was a truck on the side. We were trying to navigate between each other, and we ended up in a mess. But I came out with unscathed, just a lower back pain and a few very minor injuries. But otherwise, I am
Paul son.
Thank you.
Where can we start? There's a lot of things happening in the continent. I think the best way we can start this discussion is South Africa. You spent a lot of time in South Africa. I know you know South Africans like more than anybody in this room. Xenophobia, or I call it Afrophobia. What do you think about Operation Dudula and them saying that African immigrants in South Africa are the reason why there's unemployment, that the reason why the economy is bad, that the reason why there's crime? What do you think about what's going on there?
When you go hunting, as in old times when we used to go hunting, people, the owners of the dogs, can eat the whole softer side of the meat. And then what you do is that you scrape all the meat away from the T-bones and everything else. You bundle all the bones and you put them in a dish, and then you call all the dogs that caught the meat, and then you give them the bones, and the dogs will fight over the bones and kill each other over the bones while the bosses are eating the flesh and the softer meats. And you look at it from that angle that the African child has inherited an economy that does not have them as subjects of the business model, but as laborers. And the small little crumbs that remain, small little jobs that remain at the bottom of the food chain. See, we're fighting. Guess what we're fighting for? Jobs. We're not fighting for ownership of industry. Now, I want you to understand the level of the battle, that it is so low. Instead of us fighting that the companies that are registered on JSE must give us guarantee that all the raw materials that we are digging in South Africa is not going through the export border. So that we push them towards the establishment of industries. Once we do that, we may even discover that South Africans, there are not enough people to employ because the industries have spread. But the bigger companies are still exporting chrome, platinum, uranium, iron ore, manganese, copper, cobalt, and everything is still going. And we're fighting over jobs of spaza shops, selling chickens, selling bones on the street. So I want you maybe to understand from a bigger economic structure that the war and the battle is misdirected and misguided, misinformed, to say the least. That we are being told that brothers are enemies of each other, when in fact it is the way the business industry has been set up. May I have some tissue, please? The way the business industry has been set up, which is deliberately ignorant, in some certain cases, deliberately designed to make sure that the local people never have full access into the economy so that they can transform it to employ each other. That's level one. Level two, South Africans can never be complaining about foreigners coming into the country. Because by nature, when Cecil John Rhodes designed the Cape to Cairo model, Zimbabwe was supposed to collect minerals from Zambia, from Malawi, and they're being processed in Harare. So Harare can never complain that Malawians are here and Zambians are here. Because the copper from Zambia was coming into Zimbabwe for beneficiation.
Yes.
The tea from Malawi was being processed in Zimbabwe and exported.
Okay.
So when Malawians come into Zimbabwe, when Malawians come into the mines and etc., you cannot complain because the model already does that. South Africa, on the other side, was supposed to be the capital city from the industrialization of the 1800s, the diamonds and the gold. The mines that were opened there, when they opened up those mines, they could not use the Zulus. Because the Zulus were militant.
Okay.
The Xhosas were not enough. So the British government, through their system, attracted Malawians, attracted Zimbabweans, and Zambians, and Namibians, Lesotho, to come and work in the mines.
Okay.
The system was, in fact, to be more precise, 20 to 30, if not 40% of all the people that are in Soshanguve and Soweto, they are all foreigners. These are children of the mine migration workers. That's why you call it Gauteng, a boiling pot of culture. Now imagine you are a Piri from South Africa and you are killing a Piri from Malawi. In fact, your grandfather came here to make you. You are now fighting another generation later because you were born here. Now you have IDs. And this one is come yesterday. That's another level. But the third level, which is most unfamiliar, is when I tell all the foreigners that are in South Africa, from Zimbabwe and the southern hinterland, that it is right. You must leave the country. They must leave. Why? Because maybe South Africa never went to war. The foreigners, when they come into the country, they allow the white people to abuse them because they don't have permits, they don't have the right papers. So where the South African employer, the white man, must be paying 3,000 rand to an employee, he can pay 1,500 to a Zimbabwean.
Okay.
Where you can have one worker, you can have two. And the South Africans, when they come in there and they unionize and they want the salary put at the problem now are the foreigners who are accepting less salaries than those that must be paid by the government statutory requirement. So the business community is breaking the law by employing unregistered foreigners at the expense of employing the locals who must be demanding the equal salary. I look around and I must be objective. Based on that, people must go home. And to be more truthful, any foreigner who is in South Africa is not going there to live there and die there. We are just going there to make money. After we make money, we want to go back to our countries. That's the honest truth. So when the owners and the local residents are asking for space to do that, then we must also accept it. But the most artificial level is that some of these people that come to South Africa, those that have education and are qualified, will do the right thing and get papers and contribute towards the tax.
Okay.
But then those that come to make quick buck, then that's where crime is breeding, where drugs are breeding, where human trafficking is happening, where illegitimate business is happening. And West, particularly Nigeria and Ghana, the biggest import they've brought to South Africa is not technology, churches, prophets, contraception, and terminating pregnancies.
bleaching and hair, what? Which are, you look around and say, yes, you're my brother, but this does not really contribute towards the economy. In some certain cases, in Hillbrow, in Durban, where I've lived, you actually find that they're now running syndicates of permanent destruction of the South African community. They don't do drugs, Nigerians, but they will sell them to the local people. So you want to put all those factors together maybe, and I think you'll be able to understand what you call xenophobia or Afrophobia. Let's call it number one, economic exclusion. Number two, an industrial with extraction model, which does not allow expansion of business. And thirdly, you might want to look at that as misunderstanding of a historical context of relationships beyond the borders, and ultimately the amount of crime. Of course, the foreigner becomes the easiest target because the white men, the Chinese, the Portuguese, the Italian, and of late, they just shipped in some Israelis also to come and stay in Cape Town.
Yeah.
So even if it is Afrophobia or Xenophobia, I think there are lots of factors
Yeah.
that we can look at, which is causing the South African uprising.
But that's the thing, because there are many races in terms of foreigners in South Africa, but all we are seeing is the few not all, the few Afrophobic South Africans going at African immigrants and not Indians, not the white people. And that's why I'm like, well, is this really xenophobia? Because if it's xenophobia, then be for all foreigners. Attack the Indians who, I mean, I've ever worked for Indians. I think Indians are almost the same all across Africa. Indians are some of the most people who abuse labor laws. They mistreat African workers, and I'm sure they're doing it in South Africa.
Indians and Chinese.
Indians and Asians, actually. Yeah. So why not go for Indians? Why not go for the Chinese? Why not go for the white people who have been there for all these years, stealing all your land and stealing all your resources?
And for you as Gen Zs and as young people, I'm giving you this whole background so that while you are trying to solve and discuss and converse around the problem in South Africa, we may not even be correct to call it xenophobia. Yes. We may not even be correct to call it Afrophobia because the problem is beyond. It's beyond Afrophobia. We're dealing with geographical issues that have a history of industrialization. And the question is, how have we been able to solve these misbalances of investments from the colonial state into now the independent states? Because the railway lines are still going where they were designed to go.
Yes.
Materials, machineries are moving into Congo to go and dig. But look, every weekend, what is coming back are trucks of minerals. And wherever the minerals are going, that's where the people will follow. Okay. And tell the South Africans, I said it. If you want xenophobia to stop all the trucks that are coming into your country, bringing foreign minerals. And let's see how much of South Africa will stand. Because as long as you are allowing the multinational companies to be exporting minerals from other countries into your country, then what are you saying? That's where the labor is. So we are following our minerals. We're not owing you anything. Our gold is here. Okay. Our diamonds are here. Our copper is here. In fact, half of Kitwe in the Kabwe must move into South Africa. Because you get into Victoria Falls, Kuzungula, get into Bedbridge, you find 16 trucks full of copper. One shift after another, taking it into South Africa. And you look around and say, okay, we South Africans have a good industry. No. But what's at the back of this, what do you think is happening? When these materials come into your country, have you stopped as a country to say, what happens to the young people? Where these minerals are coming from? What are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they working? So we need to re-establish and remodel our industrial policies.
Okay.
That we make it a law in COMESA that the mother place and the industry where the mineral and the resource is being found, let all industrialization of that mineral remain in situ. We can only get it as a processed mineral to other secondary industries. But when you move the primary industry from the primary raw material, you're already creating a labor imbalance there. And I hope that our African ministers and government officials can begin to listen carefully, because this is where the problem is. So I don't even want to call it Afrophobia. I don't even want to call it xenophobia. I've not found a good way to structure it. Okay. But at the basis of this misunderstanding could be industrial imbalances. Our colonialists deliberately build Nairobi for a certain purpose, Kampala for a certain purpose, Dar es Salaam for people.
Yes.
We need to sit around and say, what was the colonial architecture of our infrastructure? And how do we now begin to migrate ourselves around the re-establishment and reorganize our relationships? Otherwise, we'll be fighting over a system that was built for us. They left a size 2 shoe for you. They left a size 2 one there, left a size 6 there. And until you begin to understand that our feet have grown bigger, maybe we need to rechange the sizes and redesign this thing. I mean, I look at Harare, for example, I almost cry every time. The city was built to house only 300,000 people. 300,000 people. The entire infrastructure. Electricity, water, roads, housing, and etc. Ask me how many people are living in Harare right now. 3.5 million. Now you are taking 3.5 million people and putting them in an UNO. Then you complain, the roads are collapsing. The water is dirty.
Sewage.
We don't have electricity. And people start running in the streets and want to protest over the government not delivering services. No, the issue is not service delivery. You have overcrowded a city by not understanding the architecture of the city and town planning. The capital city mindset in Nairobi attracts everyone from Kenya to come to Nairobi. Until you say, as Kenyans, we cannot be building Nairobi. Let's move the Department of Tourism to Serengeti.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's where it's happening. Let's move the Department of Agriculture to Eldoret.
Yeah.
Let's move the Department of what to Elgon. And then you find out the budgets of these departments are now being decentralized to the whole country, creating jobs. Look at the hotels. Look at the schools. Look at the conferences. Look at the international community. Look at the airports. Look at the quality of people that are beginning to move around the country. You may actually have solved the problem of overcrowding in Nairobi. But as long as you have this capital city, which is a colonial mindset, because this is where all the white people were, and now our fellow black people have become the white people in the city, you cannot grow like that. I think some of our government officials lack they failed in high school. They failed in college, some of them. And thinking is not their gift. They are now government officials, but I cannot guarantee that they can think. Because thinking needs you to move away from a situation and apply your mind in its fullness to say, okay, I hear the problem. But what is the real problem? The problem is overpopulation. Then let's do a survey. What brings people into Nairobi? Employment, health, education. So why are you putting more universities around Nairobi when you actually know that you have a problem of accommodation and education and overpopulation? Why not move some of these campuses and start stretching them into the rural areas, particularly if you are the government?
Yeah.
And you can see that this problem every year, you are accepting another 300,000 people. But your infrastructure is not matching then you end up people living in shack houses, in tin houses, where it's slummy areas, where sewage, where water, where electricity, where breeding place of diseases and violence and crime. And still you can't see that the problem of migration is caused by a colonial capital city mindset. Now we need to get there and nip that and say, how do we stop this migration caused by this? And I think that's common sense. In my head, I see it as clearly. I hope.
Yeah, I do. You spread people. I know, and in Kenya, that's the problem. We made the new constitution. We made all these 47 counties so that devolution can work, so that people in Nairobi can go to Nakuru, can go to Eldoret, can go to Mombasa, can go to Kisumu. But people are just here. Devolution has failed.
They don't just go. They don't just go. I'm challenging Ruto live. If you are serious with the 47 counties, start moving departments, government departments, into those counties. Make a commitment. Move the whole department of education. Move it to a county. And then the universities. And look in the long term. Then you can have universities of tourism in Serengeti. That's where it is happening. Those who want to do catering, anyone, now go there. To universities of agriculture. So we might want to remodel the entire way we've been doing our institutions so that they begin to respond directly to the ministries that are within those areas. And I think this would be a big solution in terms of resolving overpopulation in our cities. And once you overpopulate people in one space, and what they don't want to admit to, you are now building also a political boiling pot. And this political pot is very dangerous. Why? Because people are crammed. People have a reason to fight, even when there's no reason. They are already in a mode of overcrowding. They have a problem every day. So once you say let's go to the street and fight, they don't need another reason. The problems that were not solved yesterday, we're going to solve them today. Yeah. So you're already dealing with an angry, very volatile, and even as Gen Zs, let's not become too impetuous, too emotional in our responses. Yeah. We may think that we have a political agenda, but our political agenda needs to be punctuated by correct knowledge of what is it exactly that we want to solve. Otherwise, you're going to be solving long-term problems with short-term solutions. And that's not sustainable. And I fear that about Kenya, because you have a reason to go to the streets to change politicians. But I doubt it if you change policies.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. But going back to South Africa a bit before we close the topic on South Africa, what do you think about the attacks? You know, these Operation Dudula people going to the small businesses that are owned by other African people, beating them up, whipping them, punching them, kicking them. And I've heard rumblings of people saying that this might be a coordinated group by the ANC, so that people can not see the real problems of South Africa. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I don't have to think, I know. When you go and beat up a Zimbabwean woman who is selling bread on the corner of the street and you close her shop, tomorrow morning, this community, where are they going to buy their bread? They're going back to the Spar. They're going back to Checkers. They're going back to Pick and Pay. There's another Trojan horse people are not aware of. Because now the influx of the foreigners has opened lots of small businesses, sometimes even in front of the mainstream shops. Okay, you have Jet here that is selling clothes and etc. And outside Jet, you have all these vendors that are selling jeans, turkeys, pads, shoes, underwear, toothbrushes, and etc. In front, this one is paying rent. The main shop. These ones are not paying rent. You are selling food, and there's another supermarket outside your shop. And so when this begins to happen, ANC is just a hand, but the body is the business community. So after we clean up all the streets, who stands to benefit from the clean streets now? The main shops that have been established. And the question is, who owns these shops again? We're back to square one. So don't be misled by the hand of the ANC. I would not even want to look at from that. As an institution, the ANC is quite sympathetic towards foreigners based on their liberation struggle and ideologically. But there are chances, of course, in the system who would want to have some political expediency out of crisis and want to surface out as leaders who have come to solve the problem of foreigners. And even if they are illegal immigrants in South Africa, the question is, where do they go into the country from? Go through the borders. Very little percentage goes through the waters and they jump to the country. The bigger percentage, they go through the borders. So what happens at the border is that all the immigration officers at the borders, they're very rich. You come with a bus there, full of illegal immigrants. You give the immigration officer the passports, and the last passport at the bottom there has 1,000 rand per illegal immigrant coming in. He's 65 passengers sitting in a bus. He's got $1,000 each. So you find those guys. I've lived in Zimbabwe and in Messina. I know those immigration officers who drive 4 or 5 cars, got big houses. I know the police officers. They actually fight to go and work at the border post.
To get that money, yeah?
So it goes again into ethics and real morality that the government of South Africa needs. If it is serious about immigration, the problem runs deep. The other day, they found an immigration officer who had boxes and boxes. They took the stamps from work and the permits to his house. Then people will just come and deliver the box. After hours, he's there signing and stamping passports, does his collection. He's in the bank in the morning. So when you ask people to be killed on the streets for illegal immigration and not registered and all these things, I think the problem runs deeper. And then I think ultimately we must just be truthful. That if South Africa is spending 70 million a month on deporting Zimbabweans, in particular, the question is if South Africa can take 70 million a month and invest it in Zimbabwe in terms of building industries, how many young people will be retained in the country? But we don't have that brotherly love of solving the problem where it matters the most. In some certain cases, I even suggest that the border post cities like Bedbridge must be fully industrialized so that the things that people, Zimbabweans, are looking for in South Africa, they can actually find them closer.
Trump, white genocide in South Africa. You saw what happened last year when Ramaphosa was embarrassed in the White House. But you know, I'm saying one thing about the so-called, I hate that term Afrikaners, because there's nothing African about them really. These are Europeans. Let's just call them for who they are. They're Europeans, So the Europeans, they've been there for all this time. They have all the land. They have actually most of the land in South Africa. And then now all of a sudden there's a white genocide, and now Trump pulls up a video or pictures and thinking that it's South Africa. It's not even South Africa. He pulls a picture of Congo, and
I think when you look at Trump, you are looking at what I call a diplomatic circus. And honestly speaking, this man is a thug of the highest order. And I don't just blame Trump. I would look at the entire White House. Here you are working in the office of one of the most powerful people in the world, where all the information from internet to tools of verifying to Google Maps, I can't find it in my head. I mean, you have universities, professors and lecturers in IT and everything else at your disposal. You are meeting a president of another country, and you walk up there with fake information, fake news, and you make statements. You speak from the rubbish can, unverified, unproved, and you don't stop there. You go ahead to organize the extradition of South Africans.
They are going.
You break all the immigration rules to support the lie that you believe in. Then I know one thing about white people. They don't care about the truth. When they want to do something, they will do it despite. They're just finding a reason. So Trump needed to find a reason to bring Europeans into Europe. So during apartheid, during the wars of South Africa, when all those Africans were killed, come on. In Somalia right now, in Sudan, in Congo, genuine pictures. Will you ever hear that Trump has sent a bus to collect them to safety? If you don't want to collect them for safety, you were there a few days ago. Did you sign a deal for their peace, or you signed a deal for extracting more minerals? So I think Trump is coming very handy, and we must thank him. For the first time, Africans have a true picture of what the colonial system is like. And if you don't understand Trump now, you'll never understand the white man, never again.
Ever again. Yeah.
Trump represents what white people say behind our backs when we are not there. He's a mouthpiece of white capital, white monopoly. He's a pure example of what a racist white man thinks like. And he would not be there if the white people did not want him there. He's the vehicle through which, finally, the America comes first concept becomes the reality. But we love that concept of America comes first. Beautiful. Because all of us as Africans must adopt it exactly as Trump has said it. Africa comes first. And when Africa comes first, Macron can come third. Even himself, Trump, can come first. America comes first. Cannot be America comes first in Africa.
Yeah.
No, and to show you that America comes first, he withdrew all the aid.
USA slashed.
And he should. Ask me why.
Why?
Why must we be taking money from American people to look after the health of our own people in Africa? What is the Department of Health doing? So where is our money for health going? When we are waiting for... So the whole community's health is waiting for donor money? The whole government.
Yeah.
You have Minister of Health, who does not have a budget from the government. in Africa. 90% of his budget is donor money. So our health is a donation to you as government. You must be sick in your head. We are not a priority. We wait for donations for our health. But you are willing to spend 60% of our budget in military and corruption and paying yourself salaries and increasing your salaries. But you have no money to look after us. You buy a new fleet of cars for presidential escorts.
20 of them.
You have money to buy cars, but you don't have money to buy aspirin for the hospitals. Actually, that was the most brilliant thing. It's unfortunate that other people died in the gap because they were being sustained by those medications. But that having been done, when Trump pulls away his aid, ask me what he must do next.
What?
He must take FDI with him. He must take the pharmaceutical laws with him. They say we're withdrawing the health support, but we're also withdrawing the policies that withhold you from producing your own medicines.
WHO, all these.
We are withdrawing medical support. To me, as an African governor, if I was a president, I would say thank you very much. The next morning, I'll be releasing a statement on media. May all the traditional healers, may all the African people who have their herbs, who have their concoctions, please, the university is now open. The Department of Health and Pharmacology is now open. Take all your drugs to the universities. Get them tested. Do your trials.
Research.
And in less than 3 years from now, the Kenyan shops will be full of indigenous medicines like they've done in China. But unfortunately, the man withdraws his money and the government still remains with the policy. If right now you have tablets or medicines that are made and manufactured in Kenya and you want to give them to the local community, the government will be telling you, no, these are not tested. The laws, and where are those laws? They're sitting somewhere in Canada, or sitting somewhere in pharmaceutical organizations. So you're still tied with the same rope. So if you say you're not going to support our health system,
okay,
please, on your way out, take everything else that inhibits us from healing ourselves.
But what do you think about, because Kenyans, I know, Kenyans are very Christian based, they're very religious based. They'll say, "Iyo ni uchawi." That is witchcraft. That's witchcraft. That concoction, those traditional healers, we call them wachawis and wagangas. These are evil people. We don't want them in our medicinal world. What do you think about that?
There's nothing as painful as a misinformed, uneducated young person who is educated but uneducated. And by uneducated, I mean you have lost sense of your history to believe that maybe Africans have been using this thing for the past 10, 15, 20, 100,000 years. We've been here.
Yeah.
And what do you want to deliver a child? Option one, you can go to the hospital. And they have epidurals and then and cesarean sections. And you deliver. Option one. And you pay for that. Option two, the grandmother in the village will sit you in her hut, make a fire for you. On the last term, give you lots of okras and everything else, massage your feet, keep you warm, loosen up all the muscles, and you deliver with no scratch.
Put it up.
You deliver a child with no scratch, no cut. And then you come around and you say, this is witchcraft. Whatever herb she's going to give you, at the end of the day, you want a healthy child. I was born behind the kitchen door. Myself.
Okay.
And then my mother did not deliver me in a hospital. Behind my grandmother's kitchen. And she welcomed me into life. Cut my umbilical cord. A few weeks after my birth, put me in a dish of concoctions to immunize me.
Oh, wow.
I'm here. That's witchcraft. So if this is witchcraft, then we are talking to witchcraft right now. I'm saying if you believe in knowledge and education, don't just condemn certain things without knowing. Let our education allow us to go back even to those things that we're afraid of and research into them.
Yeah.
Redeem ourselves as a people from a people that condemned us. Redeem our diet, that eating porridge in the morning is healthier than eating cornflakes. Redeem ourselves thinking that powdered milk, cremora, is better than goat milk. Redeem ourselves that sleeping on the floor, it is healthier than sleeping on a mattress that is too many, it breaks your back. Redeem yourselves from that a square house is inferior to a round house. Our education must now move back into the condemned box of our culture and history and find what is there that is relevant, that is useful. This is where our PhD students must be focused on. How do we make sure that we redeem the African living in a game reserve with wild animals and they're able to live together? They're living together. Lions are over there, cheetahs over there. This one is grazing here, this one is grazing. And we have that ecology that we can live together. You come around and you put boundaries and put wires and etc. Then you begin to, you create wars which were not there. The Fulanis have been herding cattle for thousands of years, walking past these fields forever. You come around with borders. You can't cross there, you can't cross there. Then you must get guns now and start shooting. You know, they come up as Boko Haram and they come out as ISIS, fighting for land. You know, you solve a problem when you don't want to confront the real problem. That is at the bottom here. These are nomadic people, and they said, like the Maasai, we don't want to live in villages. We don't want to live in your houses. We don't want to build houses. We want to live in our tents and milk our cows and ride our cattle and wash on the urine of our cows. It doesn't make us sick. We've been doing it and it's fine. We want to poke our cows here and drink some blood and mix it and eat. We are fine. And I think this is where the educated community misses it. Because they think that by going to Oxford, everybody else desires and longs to become an Oxford graduate. Therefore, you push even the one who is comfortable where he is. I mean, and imagine the embarrassment. You go to Oxford, you train, you go to your government, you work for 10, 15 years. When you retire, guess where you go back to? Where? Back to the village.
Where you started.
There you are now, drinking the same milk again, eating the same matoke. So at the end of the day, what were you doing all along? And some people have seen the cycle. And they've said, no, you can go there. Me, I'm going to remain right here. So the communities in Africa, I was in with the Himba people. I was with the Khoisan and the Bushmen who are living between Namibia and Botswana, who, in terms of their lifestyle, they're happy. They are comfortable where they are. Their lives are fine. They don't need to go to hospital. And if they say we don't even need to go to school, why do you want to come around as a government saying, no, schooling is compulsory? School to what? To go and learn poetry of William Shakespeare. And you cannot learn your bush that will sustain you. What's the use of education? Why are we complaining right now that we have 60% unemployment? Then if it is 6% unemployment, we might have 60% back in the bush. Because they're neither doing us good in terms of land, they're neither doing us good in terms of industrialization. We just have a bunch of young kids who are holding certificates, walking in town. Doing what? Go back to the village and start plowing matokes and plant vegetables and sweet potatoes. Because you are a useless, educated community that has assumed colonial knowledge, but that colonial knowledge cannot feed your stomach. A statement from Farmers of Thought. If you cannot feed yourself, don't speak in English. Yeah, for the why. You can't say I'm hungry in English. you can't plan and feed your stomach and you speak in English. So what were you doing in school? If you can feed yourself. Now you are graduate from school to become a problem in the society. Because now you're coming in as unemployed. But you're educated but unemployed. You are now a burden to the society, a burden to the government, a burden to the family who sold their chickens and their cows. They sold their chickens and their cows to make sure I go to school. If they had kept those cows, we would have been having 100 cows by now. But we gave them to you, only to come back with 2 papers with your name on it. I'm a graduate of. Then convert your papers into food.
I know people who sold land so that their kids can.
And where are those kids? In Oxford. And the parents are still poor at the bottom. So maybe we must close down schools. Must close them down. Only when you know what you're going to do in school must you go to school. Primary school is important, and maybe high school. And after that, we must close down. Go back to the village and work. Find a problem. Go to university to solve that problem. When you come back, come and solve it.
Solve it.
I think it creates a better Rather than just, hey, you're now 20, now go to school, So we push ourselves, even when we don't have the money. We push these kids into classes. And if I was smart enough to say the truth, as a system, when you produce 100 students as graduates, and you can only employ 40 or 30 of them, then why do you produce another 100 next year? And another 100 next year? And you do another intake, another 100, and you build another university. Now you've increased from 60 that are unemployed to 300 that are unemployed. And every year, the number of unemployed graduates is shooting up. And the government and the Department of Education, you still can't see that this thing don't work.
Same courses.
Same courses.
I agree. Before we close the South Africa topic and then we go to the France Africa, because I know you have a lot to say about that Macron visit in Kenya last week. Malema, EFF leader, jailed for, the sentence was for 5 years. I know he's appealing now because for shooting in the air. What do you think about that?
There's a difference between the political arrest and the natural arrest. And I think the South African government and the legal system are not being frank and being honest. Guns are going out every day in South Africa. In funerals, the burials of thugs, taxi drivers, and guns are part of the society in South Africa. People shoot every day. And I think it was very unfortunate that in as much as Malema should be responsible as a public figure, that you don't do that in public circles, but that was exaggerated for political gain.
Yeah.
And I think to say the least, I hope he can learn his lesson, Malema, that he's no longer just a street guy. He has become a threat to the system. And as such, they will treat him like that also. So stay away from making stupid errors like that. It's not necessary. Avoid unnecessary confrontations. He has a bigger battle to fight. And you get derailed as a leader of his stature. He now is trying to solve very immaterial, trivial problems, and they'll keep you busy in court instead of fighting the real battles that he must be fighting. So my advice to Malema is, hey, Mchana, just keep your eyes open. You are no longer just a young man. You've now become a force to be reckoned with. And as such, your decisions and your actions don't give your enemies a right and the permission to abuse you for very inconsequential kind of it will derail him.
Yeah, he's an African leader, not only a South African, he's an African, a black leader actually. But before we go to France, Zimbabwe, even that word Shona, in Swahili, Shona means sewing, mending. You see, we and then I heard, how do Shonas call a snake?
Nyoka.
Swahili, nyoka. We share the same, I mean.
And kudla is eating.
Kukula.
Yeah, kula is eating.
Look at that.
And kufamba is walking.
Yeah. And, man, look at it. It's just amazing how.
Mwana is a child.
Mwana.
Yes.
Mwana. Yeah.
And the tree is muti.
Mti.
Yeah. There you go. And the tongue is urimi.
Ulimi.
Yes.
Look at that.
And the goat is mbuzi.
Mbuzi. It's the same.
And the house is imba. Nyumba.
Mzee Maponga, let's go to France. Now, last week, Macron, president of France, came to Kenya, signed a lot of deals with Kenya in AI.
Are you sure it's with Kenya or with Ruto?
With Ruto. AI, technology. But before that, people didn't talk about that. Weeks before Macron came, he had to make sure his troops are here. So 800 French troops are in Mombasa now. But he said maritime security and everything, and disaster response and all that. But for me, I think the troops have to be here so that the deals that they signed weeks later on, the troops have to control the French influence.
Let me show you something that will make you angry. Give me the list of the deals that were signed.
AI.
No, hold on.
Okay.
When you get that list together.
Okay.
And I want you to walk back into the Kenyan parliament and tell me when one of those deals was discussed.
None.
You said he signed deals with Kenya. And he's supposed to represent the Kenyan government. and the Kenyan government, the people we elected into power, can I have a list of them, those that have looked into the nature of those deals as ministries? Tell me the vote of parliament that Ruto must put his signature. And I'm not isolating Ruto. I'm addressing this as an African problem. That the governance system that we have gives the president power, executive powers, to do what he's doing. He's not being mischievous. He's doing what the office of the president demands him to do. Why? Because we as young people, as Gen Zs, we think that we can change politicians. But we don't know how to change policies. Because the policies in which we elect each other into, these are the nature of the transactions that will happen even in front of our eyes, and we can say nothing about it. So you wake up in the morning and 500 of your children are in Haiti and the parliament is not agreed. Next thing we say are dead bags, bringing them dead. Because who approved? Who has agreed that this happens? The French president coming here with the military is painful because it happens. I was in Burkina Faso 2 weeks ago. In the Sahel resistance, the 15 countries right now that are still struggling with French colonization are still there. And Macron comes here to make friends with Kenya, but he's an enemy of Burkina Faso, of Mali, of Niger, of Chad, of Central Africa, of Togo, of Ivory Coast. How do you think that a snake, you hear that it has just finished the chickens next door? It has swallowed all the eggs. And the stomach is still swollen. And he begins seething his way towards your home. And you make it a pet.
You allow him.
No, you don't even make it a pet. You go and put it next to your chicken. No, it will lie there for a few days digesting what it has eaten. But it will eat again. So I don't trust Macron. He's one of the worst snakes that we can actually consider here. And for your own information, France is on fire right now. And why do you think that Macron would want to come and fix Africa when he can't fix his own country? I find it as a joke. And this one is for Ruto himself. We can never trust you as a leader when you hear that the man that you call your friend is killing your brothers. How friendly will he be to you when he is killing me? How good is Macron in Kenya when he is so horrible in Burkina Faso? Does a leopard change its spots? I don't think so. And if you have doubt in what I'm saying, Your Excellency, Ruto, go back and do your history and find out what has been the impact of the French in terms of their history. From America to the Caribbean to Africa. Take that CV and put it in front of Macron and you will know the monster that you're dealing with. He has not changed. Macron is not the president.
Okay.
Macron is the CEO of multinational French oligarchs, thugs of the highest order, the elite who are sending him to come and do deals on their behalf. So even signing with Macron, you are dealing with established colonialists who have been here from the French Revolution, time past, with wealth that spins into hundreds of years. These families are still in power and they control the French politics. And wherever France is going, their agenda remains the same. You need to identify who is behind Macron before you can sign a deal with him. All those deals are signing AI. Does Macron do AI? Find out who is doing AI. Who is he representing? This one for mining, which company? This one, which company is behind? When you can identify those companies,
Then you know.
then you will know exactly what. And the army of France is being used to protect private business.
That's it.
In as much also as the armies in Congo are protecting the business investments of those that are on the other side. Same thing in South Africa. The South African army sent armies to Congo. Not to protect South Africans, but to protect the minds of the white people. that are mining in Congo.
It's a mess.
We need to make sure you young people understand the terrain, because you're walking on the market carrying plastic knives when there is a buffalo that has horns that will kill you. You think this is cosmetic? The colonization system is entrenched. It is deep amongst us. It has brainwashed even the best amongst us. And some people think that they are doing the government favor, when in fact they are vehicles of our oppression. And until we begin to re-educate ourselves, call ourselves aside as thinkers, no emotions, come aside, let's reason together. Why is it that when you give birth in a hospital, insurance can pay? And when I give birth in my village, the doctors and the insurance company refuse to pay? Can we go on the policy, please, and change the policy? He who delivers a child must be paid the same amount for the hospital, as long as the health of the child is well. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Makes no difference. I'm giving you just one piece, which is on the pharmaceuticals and on the health fraternity. If we can repel mosquitoes using these repellents, and we can make a local product that can repel mosquitoes, why would the government refuse that we also can make money from our indigenous things and put them on the shelves and we make money? Why are these laws that allow only white people to carry minerals? Black people can't carry minerals. Who says that a white man, when my grandfather's grave is on this land where the white man is, that I cannot have claimed that land? And you as government, when you say this is state-led, can you show us the receipt where you bought the land as a state? No, it's not a state land. You inherited the land from the white man who had stolen it from the black people. So who are you as government? You are the secondary thief. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, you are.
The first thief was the white man. And when you remove them from power, you, the government, you are the second thief. For what you call state land is actually communal land. And if you are serious about liberation, why not as a government give the state back to the state? Give the estate to the state, and the state are the people. Now you hear that so-and-so has got 100 hectares of land in Meru. So-and-so has got 200 hectares from what? They're distributing land amongst themselves. So we have a new breed of colonizers who are our black brothers, who have government influences, who are accessing state land, which is stolen communal land. And another battle will come another year. Unfortunately, our children and grandchildren will be fighting your grandchildren as politicians who have refused to implement. We went to war for the same reason. We will come back to war again for the same reason.
Kenya Land and Freedom Army, Mau Mau.
It will start again. Unfortunately, this time around, it will be our children, the poor, killing the children of the rich. I will be there to witness it.
Last time you came to this show, you said you're ready for war. You said that if they do anything to Captain Ibrahim Traore, you're ready for war.
I was not joking. I'm not mixing my words.
You start up my inbox was blowing. Hey, why is the elder saying?
And can I tell you something? My inbox was also blowing. And ask me what they were telling me.
What?
Me too. Let's go. and of course, Captain Ibrahim Traore, they granted me permanent residence in Burkina Faso. Yeah.
Okay, we'll tackle that, your experience there and what you guys talked about and everything. But before that, this France issue, you heard Macron saying that he's a true Pan-Africanist.
The true Pan-Africanist is concluded by Macron taking a microphone. Hey! That was Macron addressing African presidents.
Yeah.
With hey. And you come around and say you're a true Pan-Africanist. You can't even spell the word Pan-Africanist. That's not even if you're a true Pan-Africanist, can you just return what you have been stealing from African people?
Simple as that. Then when he said, shut up, Africans,
that's what I'm talking about. That's when he picked up the microphone and went on stage and he was telling people to shut up like a proper bully teenage high school school captain who is telling young boys who are making noise to keep quiet. And I say to myself, And I pity all the presidents that were there. I would have stood up and walked out of that meeting.
Same. But the hubris tells you how this newfound relationship between Kenya and France is going to be in the long run. This is going to be.
That was a replay into the future.
Yeah.
Even after Macron is gone, the next one who will come, he will be riding on the same principles.
Yeah.
The white man has never changed his habits. He still does exactly the same. 100 years ago, the British Gulag was here. Now the white people are here. They still have not changed. They are still the same.
Why are we not learning from history? Why are we not looking at the patterns and saying, this has to stop now?
That when you see some of us coming to begin to do the education and teaching and training, we hope that you as young people, for once, you can be better than your parents. You can be better than us. We thought actually by becoming more complying to white regulations, the system would become more polite towards us.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 years later of my life, I've learned that there's nothing you can do to make a white man happy. Nothing. They're unpleasable. They're unredeemable. They are schizophrenic. They are abusive. And they're entrenched in their entitlement. There's nothing a black man can do that can make a white man happy. Unfortunately. We're going to kill each other trying to win a spot on his table. But a white man will never change his way. They are polluted. And some of them, unfortunately, it is systemic. It is entrenched in them to destroy. You want to know a white man? Just put him in a clean, beautiful bush where there is nothing. Just put him there. Come back a few weeks later. You'll have cut all the trees. It's inherent. Just take them and show them a mountain. Come a few weeks later. They'll have dug it up and thrown things out. And as I said in one of my most recent discoveries from the caves, stop mining. Stop mining. Go and find where Mother Nature has opened. These are the caves. Follow the streams in the caves. You will find these minerals that you're looking for. Our forefathers knew this. That's why they never dug anywhere. For the streams of gold, minerals. Mommy has already opened part of the mountain. The children, if you want anything, come through here. And you go through. We knew that. And the first door, of course, that's where our ancestors are sleeping. To the graves of our ancestors. So we'll seek for access into these sacred spaces. Everything we do from now onwards, we are now within the residence of our ancestors. It changes the whole mining industry into African spiritual. We don't go there to rob and steal. We go to receive from what they've kept in store for us. And we take only what we need. And we close again and we walk back. But this whole industrialization of the Yurugus, of unquenchable need and desire, dig, extract. What are we going to end up with in this whole? We're going to end up with we can't even feed our cattle. We can no longer go to the bush. Okay. So, when we are there, so where will we go? And what will we say we have? Go to South Africa, Kimberley, find the big hall, the biggest man-made hall in the whole world. Now we're paying $10, $20 to go and see the hall. But we're the diamonds that were here. So what are we going to end up with having as Africans? After all this mining, well, it's fine. Let's mine. And cutting trees and cut trees and logging. Okay, let's log. Let's fast track the economy. So let's fast track it. 50 years from now, 60 years from now, what will Africa look like? This is where I come in as a custodian of indigenous knowledge systems. And I'm saying all developments must be circumcised with environmental intelligence. We need to balance our extraction with our preservation. And I'm just giving one of the illustrations. In our village, even the harvesting of herbs. When you have uprooted a herb, take your hair and you plant it in. Take your saliva and put it in. And take the branches of the herb that you have taken and put them back in the ground. Remove only what you have. If they are replantable, you only cut what you need. The rest of it, put it back in the ground. Cover it again so that next season, you come and harvest. You can't have this thing of just hashing and distraction or destruction. I mean, how dare you? I was in Ghana. I was in Zimbabwe. People are washing gold here and washing the cyanide into the rivers. Fish are dead on the side of the river. For 2 ounces of 2 grams, 5 grams of gold. In Kitwe, the whole cyanide tank exploded into the Kafue River. The government tried to sit on the thing and etc. But look at the 500 kilometers where that river is flowing. People and fish. You're going to be hearing an outbreak another 5-10 years from now. The diseases that are going to come out from that river. Who cares? Because I'm an investor. Some investor. Investing in what? Development is not industry. Development is when the people have an ability to improve themselves. It's not you developing us. It's me developing myself. And when I develop myself with my intelligence, I know my family, I know my environment, I know things that sustain me. And I hold this as sacred. I hold this as important. And as I grow and I develop, I preserve that which is around me. That is sustainable development.
I like that.
So you don't come around and find a whole man sitting in the village and say, I've come to develop the place. What do you do first thing? Take a grader and push down his avocado trees. You are developing me. Then what have you developed? You've cleared up my place where I was grazing my cattle. And then say I developed because I've put an internet station for you there in the basketball field there. That's development. Because now your kids can play tennis. That's development.
How we look at development is very skewed.
Yeah.
You went to Burkina Faso. You met Ibrahim Traore. You went with Queen Mother Harikana Chiwomboriko. You went with former president Jacob Zuma and among other people. How was the experience? How was it meeting the man himself?
It's life-changing. It's encouraging. It gives you hope. I cannot be over-exaggerating that Burkina Faso is now a first world country, whatever first world means.
Yeah.
But what was most encouraging to me is to see high school kids and primary school kids during holidays sacrificing their holidays to go on the streets and start paving their own streets. Wow. That others are making the bricks, others are transporting them, others are laying them down themselves. Seeing young boys and girls clean up their own streets.
It's inspiring.
And I knew that when a country has been able to take the vision of the leader into the souls of the young people, that generation is going far. Right now we have a disparity between the vision of the leader and where the people are. Because we maybe also is gentle on Maruto. Let's be gentle. Maybe he actually has a good plan for the country. But the question is, where is that country? Is it in your head? And when are you going to take your head and put it in our head so that we can connect with
what
you,
you're thinking? So
that where you are leading us to, we agree. That's where we want to go. But when you're a leader, you become a tourist. When you become a genius of always thinking for us, as if we can think for ourselves. But when a good leader is able to translate, transform, transplant their vision from their head into the heads of those that they are leading, then it's no longer the vision of the leader. It now becomes the vision of the people. You see young people standing in Burkina Faso, they take off their t-shirts, they go on the picture of Ibrahim Traore and they clean it up with their own t-shirts and they step back a little bit and they salute and they sing their national anthem. No man, there's something that I cannot explain that, but when you see it happening, there's one thing being brainwashed.
Yeah.
Where you're doing something because you've just been pressure cooked into. But when you see the faces, the joy, the hope that is in their bones, when they see the small little flag behind his bike, and he's got a bandana with the flags on his head, and he's got a t-shirt, and they see each other and they encourage each other. They sleep at the palace of the president as the first line of security. That if you want to kill him, you have to go past us first. No, man, can you go and sleep in the house of your president?
No. We wouldn't even be allowed at the gate. we'll be chased away.
Yeah, but are you following?
Yeah.
So for me, that energy, I got that in Burkina Faso. And when young people take their own growth, and this is very important, very important. Now that the leader has been able to translate his vision into the heads of the young people have understood what the leader wants to do, and they have fused themselves into the government project. Mm-hmm. It means that now the government and the people are now one thing. The government is not planning for the people. The government is planning with the people. So the national development strategy is no longer a strategic document that is sitting in a parliament office, but that document is becoming implementable, practical doing. When the government says we want to do agriculture, it's not speaking from parliament. Mm-hmm. It's speaking from the fields. Yeah. And the government comes and says, here are the tractors, here are the seeds. And after you've planted here, here's the factory. Please take the tomatoes here and put them over here. And the government, while you are still doing that, the government is in parliament making a law. No more raw tomatoes must be imported outside of Burkina Faso. Close the door now. And all of a sudden, all these tomatoes are now into paste, into dry tomatoes. The shops are full. People are now eating. Then the surplus now goes for export. It's already canned. And I think this for me is a beautiful model. We identify an issue and then close it in there and create as much industry as possible between raw and final product. So that by the time, now from the farming itself, how much employment is there? To the literal weeding and etc., how much is there? The implements that are coming here, how much employment is there? The harvesting, the manufacturing, and the processing, and the export. So you're looking at thousands of jobs that are created between that. Look at minerals. I mean, look at Zimbabwe with more than 48, 82, 100 and something minerals that are there. If each industry could be able to beneficiate. Look at Kenya. How much do you have in terms of your raw materials? If each industry can just close, and we're not just saying close it, make a statement and say, we're going to beneficiate. When you say we are going to beneficiate, support it with policy, support it with the implements, and support it with the education. Then go to schools, train people that can beneficiate and benefit from the resource. Create the industries that speak to what you've already invested in, and then create the factories, and then the full value chain must become visible, back to back, from conception, inception, and delivery. Then you're looking at the holistic way of approaching governments. Governments just come around and say, we've allocated 670 million into agriculture. And you close the books. You're not going to see that money. That money is going to white hands. But the question is, who is going to be plowing? Who's going to be buying the tractors? Who is buying the seeds? Who is buying the pesticides? Whose industries are attached to this 70 million? So basically, we're taking 700 million and we're giving it back to the white people who are doing the farming. Of that amount of money, how much of that money will go to subsistence farmers? Yeah. Nothing. And yet it is your government money. It's your taxpayers' money, which is still supporting the same colonial system. When you say you're going to use 700 million as government, tell us that 30 million is going towards universities. We want 200 graduates who have specialized in this product. We're taking so much money to do the industry. We're taking so much money into implements. We're buying so many tractors. Region X will get so much. Region X will get so much. And monitor that. Let the government work to assist the community to improve and lift up itself. Not being oilers of the same colonial system. And year after year, from the time of Arab Moi to now, there's some white people who have been getting subsidies on government money from agriculture to now. And they're feeding you, unfortunately. You cannot chase them away.
And they're killing organic farming. This multinational seed, it's crazy. If I begin to talk
now, even have organic mosquitoes.
Oh my goodness.
We have GMO mosquitoes now. But at the least, we're not just here to present a gloomy picture.
Yeah.
But we're here to infuse accountability. And that accountability from the government must be met with education from the young people. We need you, when you approach the government, you must be informed. You need to know when you're addressing issues. What issues are you addressing? What changes do you want to see happening? So you can pick up your 10, 15, 20, 30 government offices. When you pick up that budget and you look at it as young people and say, how much of this money that is coming from the tax from ourselves is actually coming back to us? You may be shocked that 60 to 80, if not 90% of that money is going back in the same system that is oppressing you.
Terrorism in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. Traore has said it. Mali has said it. There's Western hands involved in the terrorist attacks, in the terrorism in the Sahel. What do you make of that, Nze?
It's true. The terrorists are the white people. I've not seen a factory that produces guns in Burkina Faso, in Mali and Niger. I've not seen one. So where are those guns coming from? Who is sponsoring? Which country? Which first world country? Show me the country which ships containers into Africa carrying those weapons. And how did they cross the borders? Did they come by road? From Europe? Did they come by air? Did they come by sea? And how do they end up? How does a 14-year-old boy end up holding a gun on the streets of Nigeria? There's Boko Haram, there's ISIS. And how does that gun end up there? If you can answer that question, then you'll find out from the manufacturing industry of the rifles, there is a buyer who has got money, which he took from a bank. And the account belongs to a businessman who has an interest in Niger, who is paid the manufacturer, paid the shipping, paid the immigration officers and corrupted them, shipped those things in, paid African leaders who are hungry for money to go and fight a fellow African so that he can get what he wants. A pile of coffins of the Africans lie on the side, and he declares profit on his bottom line. So don't talk about terrorists. You're making it so artificial. Let's address the real core. How do those guns? So you find the banks are involved, investors are involved, private people are involved, government securities and diplomatic immunities are involved, manufacturing companies are involved. If they were really serious, you would say Somalia, Sudan is a war-torn country. This one I'm pointing at the United Nations. One policy only. No gun must enter a war-torn zone. No bullets must enter a war-torn zone. No more killings. Stop the bug. The last bullet that you shoot is the one that you have in a barrel. What stops us from making such resolutions? So that we can have peace on the continent.
Wow. Really, really good insights from our own elder, Mzee Maponga, Marara Changambire. Please, if you can look, I always like my guests looking at this camera, giving out their final word, maybe a word of, whatever you want to say, a word of encouragement, a word of inspiration to the millions of Africans who are watching you right now.
The vision for a One Africa is not a dream anymore. It is a reality. Start getting ready for it as young people. Talk about it. Think about it. Contribute towards it. And for you who are still young, below the ages of 18 and 20, start looking at the new Africa that we are talking about and map your careers so that you can be effective in that new era that is coming towards your way. Stop taking careers like we did some old, defunct kind of professions that will not benefit you from anywhere else. Transform. Think of what problems are coming into the future. Spend your time to study to solve those problems. Be relevant in the future. And those who are able to be millionaires as we cross over, you start planning now. For if you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. I'm waiting for you in the future, the watcher from the future, living with you in the present with solutions from the past.
Asante sana. Asante sana. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.